Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Glad to have you guys here. Welcome in. As you are popping on in, if y'all could do a solid and hit the like button, I would absolutely appreciate that. It does help out. As well as turning on notifications if you're new to the channel, you just subscribed. But in today's quick live stream, yeah, I'm going to discuss iOS 26 Developer Beta 3 as that just recently released. I am going to share a little bit about the Pixel 4 taking the update to EvolutionX 10.7, which is Android 15 based. So now I have Android 15 on the Pixel 4. I'm also going to dive into something that may not be a widespread issue, but there are a lot of people, such as myself, who find this frustrating with Verizon. And that has to do with locked bootloaders. So all that being discussed in today's podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Oh my God, man. Last night, just to kind of like, kind of break the ice. Last night, I had like a really, really crazy nightmare. A really crazy nightmare last night. So it was very interesting. What up, B-Tech? Glad to have you here. So yeah, it was, I don't know. My wife had she had woken me because I guess I was screaming in my sleep. This has been happening far too much lately. So man. Anyways, yeah, if you guys want to support the channel directly, well, that way. No, that way. Yeah, that way. The QR code up there is the way to do it. Shout out to the channel members. You guys are in the ticker below. If you want to become a channel member and get access to exclusive content, join up today. It's like a cup of coffee. So if you guys want to do that, that would be awesome. And you know what? Shout out to everybody for helping me get to 13.8K subscribers. I appreciate you guys. We are back on the climb on just a lot of things, with the channel. So I'm very happy, very gracious, very appreciative, and very humble for all the support. All right, let's get these things out the way so they're not a distraction. I'll pop the bad dreams suck. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I mean, it's a little bit more further than like, just a bad dream, right? I guess like they would call it night terrors because it has you screaming in your sleep. So I don't know what it is that caused it, but it was absolutely crazy. I know for a moment, like my wife woke me up, she was kind of freaked out. She was just like, you're you might go live on what? On tech or on wrestling? And if you're gonna go live on tech, I mean, if you want to co-host on your show, yeah, I am free until I want to say 3 in the afternoon today, my time. So that would be 5 p.m. your time. But yeah, DM me and we can work that out if you want to go on the DLP or if you want to go on the BTech channel, whichever you want to go on. Just let me know. But anyways, yeah. So the other day, iPhone 12 picked up iOS 26 developer beta 3. Right, so we're getting closer to where the public beta for iOS 26 is probably going to be available. So anyways, I got the notes pulled up here, so let me share the screen real quick, and we'll kind of go over the notes, so that way you guys have an idea exactly what's going on. Okay, trying to pop my shoulder here. Anyways, right, so iOS and iPad 26 beta 3 release notes. So these are things that you need to know. So the overview on this is that with both iOS and iPad OS, it provides support to develop apps for iPhone, iPad. You know, that's pretty much what these beta software is for. So if you are an app developer, right, this is for you to literally use to develop your app for iOS, for the next version of iOS, and to make sure that it's functioning properly with the APIs from that software. So these are the resolved issues that they fixed with developer beta 3. So fixed some iPhone 15s and iPhone 16 models might show a low battery symbol and be unable to start up after updating to iOS 26 beta 1, right? So we're way past that because we were on beta 2 and now we're on beta 3. So hey, it is what it is. It tells you here, follow the steps below to restore the affected iPhone using the updated version of iOS 26 beta 1 or to downgrade to the currently released version of iOS, right? So give you kind of like how to do it. Disconnect the iPhone from all USB-C cables, connect to USB-C cable to computer, then open Finder if using Mac or the Apple devices app, and if using Windows. And yeah, so it's just really much like how to get down from it, like how to basically drop yourself out of developer beta. All right, yeah, I'm available around that time, VTech, so if you want to do it. But anyways, so here's more stuff right here, right? App intents, resolved issue, fixed code that references app intent, and it kind of gives you just the little reference and the ticket number right there. Apple Intelligence gets new features. The Foundation Modals framework provides you with the direct access to the on-device large language model at the core of Apple Intelligence. So there's the reference right there. Resolved issues, fixed in-image playground and Genmoji. The new modifiers to customize appearance do not work for Japanese language users. Image creation is blocked when attempting to add modifiers to its appearance. They also fixed modal quality output degrades after extended, repeated. Shoulder hurts. But repeated inferences of the same adapter. Okay. They also fixed something with Apple Music. Known issue: audio mix transition may be less complex or not available to spatial audio. For apps, known issues on some iPads, buttons and symbols might show visual corruption during app launch. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna pop this in the chat if people want to go and actually read through all of it. There's a lot here. There is a lot to read, right? Authentication servers, so they kind of go over that. Background assets, what they resolved on that. But for the most part, if you were basically, if you're wanting to know, like, just is it able to be used as a daily driver software? And if you guys caught my video where I talked about it in the past, right? I really wouldn't recommend anybody using developer software as a daily driver software, because maybe 6 or 7 people say that, it feels stable to them, right? You could be that 1 out of 10 that ends up having bug issues after bug issues after bug issues with your phone. And it just ends up being detrimental, ends up hurting. Yeah, I just wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend it at all. Like, don't do it. um Unless you're willing to test out the software for Apple and to send feedback, because that's one of the things that I noticed from, like, just people that tend to come across these YouTube videos, and they see that people are running the latest beta version of a upcoming software, and so they want to be on the what they call the hip train, right? They want to be like, with so and so on the not released version. Which, I mean, I don't understand why. Like, what is the point of you being able to tell people that you have software that's not released to everybody else yet? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand that mentality. Unless you're going to give feedback to the company, right? Unless you're going to say, oh, okay, I found a bug. Like, say, like, I found an audio bug on iPhone 12 with iOS 26. Then I'm going to go, into the feedback app and send as much information as possible regarding, the device, right? Because, I mean, there's all kinds of things, that could happen with the software. So you got to send that feedback back to Apple, for them to know, like, hey, okay, this is a problem, this is what's happening, this is the log from the user of what the bug is all about. And it gives them detail to see, like, what I did that may have tripped the bug to happen, and they could get to work on it to make sure that, if other people are experiencing the same bug, they can get in there and find a fix it, and then in the next iteration of the beta software release, have that bug fixed, right? So that's something I would tell people. Don't use beta software unless you're going to actually beta test it. We're not too far away from iOS 26's release. We're already nearly midway through July, right? Today's July 10th, right? And 4 more days, it is the 14th, right? So the 15th is like the halfway mark. We're already halfway through July. This year is going by so fast. So it's not going to be too long, right? We're going to be expecting probably an iOS 26 release on September of 2025. So that's like a month, like 2 months away. That'll go by pretty quickly, like that. But for the most part, everything with iOS 26 developer beta 3 is pretty functional, right? Like, I have no problems connecting my AirPods to my iPhone 12. I have no problems, using any of the apps, third-party apps that I'm using for, social networking, social media. A lot of those are functioning properly. Camera is functioning properly. One thing that I am testing out today, and I'll probably pop this on X and on Threads, for people to know, is if the battery is impacted, right? Because sometimes when you get beta software from Apple, it could affect the battery. That happened with iOS 18, and when it was in the developer beta stages. I think developer beta 5 was like killing the battery on my iPhone 12 so fast. And then when the full release of iOS 18 came out, battery kind of just like leveled out, and it got better again, right? I mean, I know people are gonna say, well, the iPhone 12 didn't have the best battery, and I totally get that. It did not. But for the most part, it was far terrible, far worse. So I'm going to be watching closely to see if the battery on this is has taken a dump, basically. Last night, after taking the update yesterday, about the evening time, the phone was charged up. I took it off. I was using it, watching content on YouTube and stuff like that, and I think my screen on time was like an hour and 45 minutes. It went down to 19% battery. So we'll see how it handles today when it comes to that. Okay. So moving on from iOS 26 and just Oh man. Let's talk Verizon and the locked bootloader. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because right now I am officially on the hunt for another Pixel 4 XL but non-Verizon version, right? So this is my 4 XL, and this right here would be my Pixel 4. So the Pixel 4 we'll talk about here in a little bit because I did put it on EvolutionX 10.7, which is an Android 15 base ROM. But I want to talk about this real quick because this is something that like aggravates me with Verizon. Okay. So first off, in general with everything, Verizon devices have locked bootloaders. Okay. Now, if you're somebody who's in the custom ROM community, you know that with Android devices, the bootloader needs to be unlocked in order for you to install a custom ROM or custom software, in layman's terms, just custom Android. And why would anyone want to do that? Well, when I get into the Pixel 4 and the custom software that I have on it, you'll understand why, right? So, like with my Pixel 4 XL, it's still stock Android 13, which was the last software that this was given. And that's that, that's pretty much it when it comes to that. So I do want to be able to put the Pixel 4 XL on a much newer version of Android, like which is where custom ROMs come into play, right? They breathe new life into an older device. Plus, too, there are some crazy cool features that the Pixel 4 XL has that newer Pixels don't have, right? One of my favorite things, and one of the things I really love using the Pixel 4 XL, is like when accessing Gemini, because this has the active edge, I can squeeze the phone, and the sensors on the side of the Pixel 4 XL, they detect pressure. So when I squeeze it and I have it set to launch Gemini Assistant, it will launch the AI. So that, it's pretty cool. You don't have to hold the power button to engage, Gemini. You can just squeeze the side of the phone and it works out. So with me, that's something that, it's still present. I can do it with my Pixel 4 on Android 15. It launches Gemini. So for the most part, the Pixel 4 XL has a bit better battery than the Pixel 4. Right, the Pixel 4, I believe, having a 2800 milliamp hour battery, and I believe the Pixel 4 XL having a 3700 milliamp hour battery. I mean, yes, they're older, so obviously the battery has degraded a little bit. So like right now with the custom ROM on my Pixel 4, I am testing battery to see, just how long can I make it through. Took it out the charger this morning, about an hour ago. I didn't do a whole lot on it, and it's only dropped to 99%. Battery on the Pixel 4. So far, battery is looking to be promising on the Pixel 4. However, with the Pixel 4 XL, the reason why I can't flash a custom ROM on it is because the bootloader is locked. Now, from what my understanding is that when the Pixel 4 XL was released in 2019, a batch of them went to Verizon, and Verizon had the bootloaders locked. Verizon's notorious for this. They don't do it to Pixels. They also do it to Samsung. They do it to other Android devices that they get. The bootloaders are locked. But here's the problem. When you, as a user, buy a phone and own the phone, right? Like you want to be able to do what you want to do with it, regardless of what Verizon thinks, right? Like I literally last night was doom scrolling a Verizon support page because there were people on there that were kind of going back and forth with the Verizon tech support rep, talking about unlocking the bootloader. Some of the, tech support reps are playing dumb and thinking that, oh yeah, after 60 days, your phone is SIM unlocked to go on the network, which is not what people were talking about. And it was literally a standoff. It was like Verizon blames Google, says contact Google to get the bootloader unlocked. Google says they have nothing to do with it. All those the bootloaders are unlocked when they send them to the carriers that are going to be selling these devices. They do what they want with the phone. So then it's like, okay, well, so you're saying Verizon locked the bootloader. Verizon saying you guys have to unlock it. And it's like, why can't anyone just unlock it? If I completely purchase the phone, own the phone, it's my phone, right? It's mine. It's not theirs anymore. I have no obligation to continue paying them for the phone. The phone is completely mine. then I should be able to do what I want to do with it. If I ask them to unlock the bootloader, that's something that I feel like that they should honor and be able to do. Whether they have you take it into a Verizon store and have an in-store tech rep do it, you know, however they see fit to do it. The point is they should do it. So there was one way of getting this unlocked, but of course you had to buy a Verizon model brand new, unactivated, and you would have to get the phone without it ever being turned on. And then you would have to pop open the phone, take the Verizon SIM card out, and then boot the phone on and do all this crazy mess of trying to get the because what's blocking you from unlocking the bootloader is when you go into developer options on the device. There's a part in the developer options that says OEM unlock, which means that it allows you to unlock the bootloader, and it's grayed out. You can't toggle it on or off. Whereas on unlocked Pixels, it's available to be toggled on or off if you're going to unlock the bootloader. So they don't offer any services to unlock the bootloader. They don't they do nothing. They just do the back and forth thing. And so like right now I've been scouring the Webernet trying to find a Google Fi Pixel 4 XL or a unlocked model sold through Best Buy or Google. And it's hard because there's a lot of sellers that's like, they got refurbished Pixel 4 XLs in so orange, clearly white, just black. No, is you don't know if they are a Verizon model or not, because they say it's unlocked and it could be unlocked to go on any carrier. True, it could go on T-Mobile, AT&T, or whatnot. But if you want to know if it's a Verizon model, you have to have the IMEI so you can do an IMEI check to see if it's a Verizon model. Because if it is, there's no point in buying it and having it shipped to you, because then you still can't unlock the bootloader. It's a Verizon model, right? Like you need a Google Fi model, you need a direct from Google model, you just need a fully unlocked. Now, there is a few case points I found online where somebody had a Google Fi model for sale, but they wanted like $500 for it. And they knew that people were going to be looking for that particular model phone, because it even says in the description of the phone, Pixel 4 XL refurbished Fi version unlockable bootloader. It says it in the name of the description of the phone in these places I went to go look for sale. And it's like, I'm not going to spend $500 on a phone that came out nearly 6 years ago. So yeah, I'm still on the hunt for it. If anybody has one, and I mean legit can prove that the phone is the bootloader's unlockable, you could DM me on X with a photo of it, and the most I'll pay is $100 for the phone. That's the most I'll pay for an unlocked model to unlock the bootloader, because the ROM that I'm using, it is they have a built version for the Pixel 4, and they have one for the Pixel 4 XL. As a matter of fact, for you guys to see that, hang on here. All right, let's get the website up. But there you go, EvolutionX. Right, this is for the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, so it's for Flame and for Coral. And right now, you can download like the latest versions of it, which is Android 15 based, and you also have like these added features, right? Like wired guard, you got kernel super user. You got SUSFS, and then there's self OTA. So the ROM developer has made it to where you will get OTA updates for this particular ROM when they put out a new version of it, right? These known issues right here, like they say, do not flash G apps, because G apps is already included in the ROM itself. You don't need to flash it separately. The 3D face unlock and motion sense do not work, obviously, because the technology is not furtherly developed from Google. So you still have face unlock with the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, but it's not the 3D version, so it's slightly slower. You won't notice it It's not a noticeable thing, so you won't notice it at all. But yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, it's not the 3D version of it. And then, of course, the WireGuard kernel module requires root to be enabled. So if you want root, you would have to go the full root route. If not, if you just want the software, you could just install the software using ADB and ADB sideload and whatnot. So using terminal to install the recovery. So, anyways, without having the ability to unlock the bootloader, I can't install this software onto my Pixel 4 XL. That's the dilemma. So to me, I'm like, why does Verizon gatekeep these phones even after? All right, this is almost a 6-year-old phone. Like, what for? If they, updated their policies and said that if the phone was older than 4 years old, they'd be able to unlock the bootloader, that's fine, because if they're worried about newer devices getting the bootloaders unlocked, devices that's going to be financed, then make that in your policy that if your phone is device financed, you cannot get the bootloader unlocked. But if your phone is paid off, they'll unlock your bootloader. Whether they send an OTA update that unlocks it, or if they have you go into a Verizon store and have a in-store tech support rep connected to a computer via USB cable and unlock it for you. Whatever the case may be, they should allow it to be unlocked. Verizon should not keep these things. I mean, right now people are signing a where want Verizon to change the device, I'll keep it at 60 days because currently right now it's at 60 days. I think Verizon wants to do 6 months or something like that. All I know is that when I saw people saying, hey, sign a petition to stop Verizon from extending, how long it takes to unlock a device, I just went in and just signed a petition. I did not, I didn't sit to read through everything. All I know is if Verizon has, I think, the smallest wait time for device unlock. Okay. And, I'm not going to argue with people about why a device should stay locked when it's financed or not financed. I don't care. People's credits are people's credits. You ruin your own credit, that's your fault. But yeah, I don't see why they should change it and make it to where, devices stay locked a lot longer. So in support of that, I'm also, I'm wishing that there would be support to force Verizon to unlock the bootloaders on these older devices. The problem is that there's not a lot of people that really need the bootloader unlocked. This is why most of us in the developer community, we don't really have a leg to stand on, because maybe we think that there's like 8 million people who want the bootloader unlocked on an old Verizon Pixel 4 XL. But if we were to all localize in one general area, we would probably find out that maybe there's only 10,000 of us. And 10,000 of us, in Verizon's eyes, doesn't equate to enough pushback in order for them to say, okay, we'll unlock the bootloader of your phone. So it's not enough people to push for this to happen. Honestly, I don't even see why we would have to push for this to happen. I honestly feel like that, Verizon should just allow it. Or if Verizon is not going to allow it, Google should allow it. Like, we have the Android Flash tool. We have all these, these different things at our disposal. And, we should be able to just unlock the bootloader ourselves. As a matter of fact, here's one thing that's like really difficult about having a locked bootloader that Verizon needs to consider. Because maybe, there's people that don't want to upgrade to the latest phones. And if somebody is still using a Pixel 4 XL actively on Verizon, and if there's an issue with the phone that they have to connect to the, the USB flash tool, the flash tool requires the bootloader to be able to be unlocked. So what is a person supposed to do? Like, they're SOL, they're screwed. They're going to have to go and get a new phone. They're forced to go and get it, which is a bad look. It's an absolute bad look to do that. There is no definitive answer why Verizon won't just unlock the bootloader or make it to where. Like, all they really need to do, they don't have to unlock the bootloader for you. They just have to enable the setting and developer options to allow you to attempt it, and which they won't. They won't do it. Now, there's been one person, I think, out of all the different threads that I read, there's been one person who said that they were able to get it done. They posted on X talking about their frustration of not being able to turn on OEM unlock. Somebody responded back to them from Verizon and was able to get it done. And I'm like, great, you got it done, but what's that do for the rest of us that want it done? Like, so everyone's starting to like not message, but like comment this guy's post. They built the thread and there's no response from the guy. And I personally think, the guy just said it just to gain notoriety and popularity in the forum posts, because there's been no response. It's been crickets. It's been chirps. Nothing. Other people took to X and did the same thing, and they got a response back from Verizon, and that response was less favorable. So yeah. No, it sucks. I mean, we should be able to do what we want with our own Android phones. If it's no longer being financed, if it's outside of a 2-year-old window, right? Then Verizon should either do it or allow Google to do it, because Google could just implement that feature into the Android Flash tool, that if you have a older than 2-year-old Verizon device, like Google Pixel phone, that you can connect it, and they could wipe out the Verizon software version and just install in the Google Fi software version, which allows the OEM unlock to be turned on, and just nip it that way. But it has to do it because they're the ones that put it on. Verizon says we don't know what you're talking about, or we don't recommend that you unlock the bootloader. It could be dangerous to your device. Like, we get it, you advise us, but you can't tell us what to do. You're not our daddy. You're not our mom. It's like, come on. That's really been what Verizon's response has been to anybody who's asked them to unlock the bootloader. It's always been, they see no reason why you need to unlock the bootloader. They understand that you want to install a custom software. It's dangerous to your device. We advise you don't do it. Like, yeah, okay. But if you got someone that's saying like, okay, you know what? I'm not a guru, but I do know what I'm doing, and I appreciate your advice of staying safe with my device, but I still want to put a custom software on it, there should be no argument. Why am I on that trailer? Well, the reason that I am on it is because I bought this from a person who had Verizon. Like, I'm not on Verizon at all, but this was sold to me, and back in the day, and like I said, I had it for a couple years. It's unlocked to any network, so I was using it on like Mobile X, Visible, Boost Mobile. But it was when I found that there was actually a massive amount of development to continue the life of the Pixel 4 XL. That's where, like, I was like, oh man, Verizon has locked bootloaders, right? So like, I can't even, like, I have no ground with them. Why does the phone company have to not allow the customer to unlock the bootloader and the phone already paid off? It's been years since you've even touched that phone. Yeah, I mean, these are things that people are saying to Verizon in the Verizon support thread, but they won't do it. You know what I mean? So it kind of sucks, right? Like, I'm not trying to like do a call to arms and let's ride on Verizon and get this done, because I think people have tried already, but it's so sad. So like, the point that I'm making out of this is, if you guys hear the level of frustration in me, if you're somebody that's in the ROM development community, or if you're new to it, like if you're somebody who just discovered about custom ROMs and you're like, hey, you're gonna pull a trigger on a custom ROM, do not get a device that is a Verizon model, because all Verizon Android model phones are bootloader locked and they will not unlock it for you. All right, so you're gonna have to go with either the unlocked models direct from manufacturer, because like there's some, like, I'm trying to find other Pixel 4 XLs that are T-Mobile, because T-Mobile also locked the bootloader on them, but T-Mobile will unlock them for you. Like, they will unlock the OEM unlock setting and developer options. They're pretty good with that. Plus, there's workarounds for that on XDA, but Verizon is the only pain in the ass one. They really are. Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. You know, you have so many customers. You have so many customers that are they've been with Verizon for a while. They're used to their phones being unlocked after what 60 days or so. So to be making them wait a year, you know, that's painful. That's super painful. That's a way to get rid of your, you know, your loyal customers. Now, for those who want to know the reason why I want the bootloader unlocked on the Pixel 4 XL is because my Pixel 4. This phone is directly on EvolutionX 10.7 Android 15. Active Edge still works. See, it did a screenshot, right? I haven't set that up to like launch Gemini, but I'm going to do that right now. But you could had a little hiccup there with the live stream, but you could let's see. Let me oh, that's right, Gemini's not blue anymore. Gemini has the Google colors.
Hi, I'm Gemini. We're about to go live. All right, let's start chatting whenever you're ready.
We even got the with Gemini, we even got the Gemini live camera. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, I was gonna set that up in Active Edge. Squeeze to open assistant. Boom. Oh, I love that.
What a surprise.
So now, come on. Oh my God. I did that. That was a hiccup right there. That was a bug. I found the bug with the custom software. There it goes. Now it's working. But yeah, having that, you know, with modern day software, to me, that's nerdgasm right there, you know. But now I'll show you guys that it is on Android 15. I did drop a shorts on the shorts channel showing real quickly like what I was doing stepwise in installing Android 15 on here, but there it is. Android version 15 on the Pixel 4. Now, the battery seems to be doing a little bit better, but it's not something that I would say is the best battery. The 4XL would probably give me better battery life. Actually, it will, you know. Especially like if I get this ROM on the Pixel 4 XL, because then I also have like, you know, the tuner for the kernel, right? I can fudge with the kernel. I can underclock the CPU. I can overclock the CPU. Of course, I'm not going to overclock it, you know, because I really wouldn't need to. Underclocking it would actually save more battery, because it's the resources are not eating up a lot of power to use the phone in itself. You could also install modules from like, you know, Magisk and everything like that. That could also pertain to extending the battery life on your phone, right? So this is the reason why I want to put a custom ROM on the Pixel 4 XL. It's not only for the, you know, for the feature stuff that you're able to do with the 4 XL that's natively built for the 4 XL, but it's also stuff that is outside of the spectrum of stock Android. Being able to control, you know, the CPU, you know, having a custom kernel also installed that enables outside features that weren't given to the Pixel 4 XL. Like the ROM development community may be silent nowadays because there's not a lot of people looking to flash custom ROMs on their phone. However, they're still there and they're still producing some pretty insanely good custom software for Android, especially for Pixels. Pixels are like the easiest to install. I mean, outside of the scope of being a nerd with these phones, there are people who want to put Graphene OS, which is a de-Googled software, onto a Google Pixel phone. And I could understand why people want to do that. There's one feature with Graphene OS that I think is absolutely freaking amazing. And that is, if you're worried about certain apps digging into your personal data, you can sandbox apps to be in specific, like they have no communication with other apps on your phone running Graphene OS. This is one of the reasons why my dad really wants Graphene OS on his Pixel 6a, is because he wants to make sure that like certain apps aren't able to like communicate with like his banking app or his his email or any of that stuff, right? This is what prevents people from basically breaking into like your Photos app and stuff like that, because if you sandbox it where it has no access to connect with the browser app or any of that other stuff, then you are essentially protecting your information to a much better degree. And on top of that, if you don't trust Google, well, then you don't have to use Google software, like Google apps at all whatsoever, because they have their own apps with Graphene that will allow you to install other apps. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The custom stuff, there's still people are doing that, but not as big as a community. Yeah, I know it's not as big as it was back in the day, right? Because a lot of the a good majority of people that wanted to customize their smartphone wanted to add like app icons, like custom icons. They wanted, to be able to do custom backgrounds, things like that, which you today in most, whether you're on stock Android with Google Pixels, you're on One UI with Samsung, whatever the case may be, you could do a lot of these customizations on your Android device without needing root, without needing a custom ROM to do it. And then Android launchers, third-party launchers, right? Like Nova Launcher, have gotten better where they're less intensive on your battery and on your RAM, right? Because when you think way back in the day, like 2013, when we had Android smartphones, we had smartphones that had, at best 1 gigabyte of RAM, right? Most of like the mid-range and budgets had like 512 megabytes of RAM. So when you were using a third-party launcher, that was already eating up like, majority of your memory. And so people were having a very laggy experience. But now when you have phones that have 16 gigabytes of RAM, the launcher on an Android phone is barely even using a little bit of that. Okay, I had to make sure. It sounded like the background beat to this live stream for a second there, it sounded like it had like a phone with a ringtone. So I thought one of my phones was ringing. So I was like, oh my God, I gotta listen real quick. Okay, it's not one of my phones ringing. Yeah, so like nowadays, there's not a lot of people that's really like looking into custom ROMs anymore, because what they've wanted out of Android to customize is already being given either in the native stock software, the stock user interface, or you could download third party that doesn't hinder the performance of your phone to be able to customize and do these quirky things. So now those that are looking to install custom ROMs are those people who really like a certain phone, like myself, who really like an older phone and want to continue the life on it. Because if I think one big selling point that Google could have is if they had a small development team develop current software for older Pixels. Of course, they're not going to, because they want everyone to buy the new one. But Google can do this because Google's main bread and butter is not Pixel phones. It's not the Android platform. It's not the Android software. It's their Google search. That's their bread and butter. That's where they make a lot of their money from, right? And Google being a large tech company that sits underneath Alphabet Inc., which is their parent company, if you didn't know. Um, so they have money. I wish that maybe, you know, that Google would do that. Like, hey, you know what? We're going to take a group of our software engineers, development teams, and we're going to make them, and call it Pixel Legacy, where they just, you know, just for fun, just for the googly nerd in them, to put out Android 16 for the Pixel 4 XL, right? It doesn't have to have like the latest push for the for the AI software for Gemini, but it could, you know, be up to date with security patches. It could be like up to date with the visual styles, right? I damn well know Material 3 Expressive will run on this phone. There's nothing that you would need the Tensor G4, the Tensor G3 to run just the visuals of the user interface of Material 3 Expressive. All right. What would come into play of why the Pixel 4 XL would be obsolete is I think it's a Snapdragon 855 is the processor in the Pixel 4 XL, and that not being able to handle the AI processing of Gemini. It'll, you know, like on device, right? It won't be able to, because the Gemini that we're able to access on the Pixel 4 XL, that's cloud. That is cloud AI. It's not Gemini Nano, which is on device. So, you know, I'm fine with it not getting the latest AI features that come with on-device AI, such as Gemini Nano. I'm good. Just give me the latest version of Android. Keep the life going on for it, you know? There are people that are stubborn and don't want to upgrade to the latest. And it's like, it's not fair to them that they can't, you know, that they can't have a piece of the cake. You know, people always say you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, all these people that don't want to upgrade because their phones still work, their phones still access Facebook, their phones still make phone calls and text messages, they don't even get a piece of the cake at all, because no one's considering them and being like, okay, they're diehard, they don't want to upgrade, they really like their phone, let's just upgrade it for them. Let's just upgrade the software. Like, they won't do it. They're so like, we're going to make sure we find a way to piss this person off so they have no choice but to buy a new phone. So like, I advocate strongly for people who want to continue to use their old phones. So, you know, I told my wife for my birthday, I want a Pixel 4 XL that is bootloader unlockable, because I do want to put Android 15 on my Pixel 4 XL. I do want to flash this ROM on it. So she's like, keep searching, keep looking, and if you find one that fits, great. And what she means by that is because I use OfferUp to find a lot of these phones that I grab that are like used smartphones that I review. I use OfferUp because I want to be able to test the phone in person. Like when you buy from eBay, or if you buy from Swappa, or if you buy from Back Market, you really can't test the phone. And if you message them and you're like, hey, I want to make sure this is a Google 5 version and not a Verizon version, to make the sale, they're going to tell you like, oh yeah, it's unlocked. Yeah, it's not locked to Verizon, it's unlocked. And you buy the phone, you get it, and you find out it's another Verizon model. Now you got to send it back, and they got to refund you. And then it says on the refund policy, they get to keep 5% because of restocking fees and stuff. And it's like, why do you have to go through all that crap just to try to get the phone that you want? Like, and then there's those who know that people are looking for the bootloader unlockable version. And so they want $499 and they won't take a penny less. You could tell them till you're blue in the face, this is a 6-year-old phone, so why are you charging me, you know, as if it was brand new? And they're going to tell you, if you don't want to pay it, then, you know, walk away, or they'll block you so you can't message them anymore. Yeah, absolutely, totally sucks. Anyhow, yeah, so if anybody knows somebody that has a Pixel 4 XL that is a Google 5 variant or a direct from Google variant that is able to unlock the bootloader, you guys could DM me. DM me that, you know, it shows the OEM is unlockable. And I would say don't send me a photo. Send me a video. I don't trust photos. I could always download a photo from Chrome that shows the OEM unlock toggle turned on, and then it not be that. So show me a video that's unlockable. Show me a video that it has, you know, that its battery health is above 80%. And the most I'll pay for something like that is $100. That's the most that I'll pay. But yeah. Oh man. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, I appreciate everyone for coming in and hanging out. If you came in halfway through the podcast, catch the replay to get all the deets on, iOS 26 developer beta 3. Big shout out to the community members that are in the ticker. Become a community member today to get access to exclusive content just for members and exclusive shorts. I am posting shorts on the channel again. They're just only for members only. Yeah. And you know what? It's like buying a cup of coffee a month. One cup of coffee. You get all that. And also, shout out to everyone for helping me get to 13.8 thousand subscribers. We're on our way to 14,000. And I appreciate every one of y'all for that. So thank you. And if you guys would like to support the channel directly, that's how you can do it. The QR code's always up in the upper left corner, but that's how you would do it right there, as well as if you wanted to grab one of the Nerd Limited shirts, they are right there. Anyhow, you guys be good out there, and those that catch the replay, hashtag replay crew, I will talk to y'all later. Be safe. Aloha.